It's Samba.
今でも青が澄んでいる今でも青は澄んでいるどんな祈りも言葉も近づけるのに届かなかった
The spring anime season came with an insanely powerful set of newly airing series. You had Oshi no Ko, Heavenly Delusion, Magical Destroyers, and of course, everyone's favorite anime of the season, Isekai the Cheat Skill wa Ten ni Shinta Ore. So how does the summer season follow up? Yeah, nah, it's alright. Look, don't get me wrong, there are a few great shows this season, especially in the sequels department, but this list isn't really focused on continuing series. Though if I'm being blunt, there really isn't as many high quality new series in this season compared to the previous two. But in all fairness, as anime fans, we've been spoilt pretty rotten, so when you're done shitting in your adult diaper, let's move on to the summer season. A time filled with endless possibilities. With these good vibes and the sun shining brightly on our skin, let's make the most of it. By staying indoors, turning off the lights, hiding under a blanket to insulate us from our forever growing dread of being alone, whilst also denying the existence of the outside world through a little Japanese cartoon we call anime. I'm a 25-year-old man-child who still lives with his parents, so that's how my life is going. Dark Gathering was a surprise this season. I hadn't heard much about it outside of one PV on YouTube, and it is one of the more, well, stranger shows this season. I'm a big horror guy, so when I heard from a bunch of anime YouTubers about how this anime is one that, and I quote, gets horror right, I was super intrigued. So what did I find out of it? Yeah, nah, I really disagree with that statement. But I am still having a pretty solid time with it. Though I think to call this anime the most horrific of the season is objectively wrong. It sounds like these people haven't watched The Girl I Like Forgot Her Glasses. I mean, have you seen these camera angles? They're straight up nightmare fuel! And I can't even imagine the storyboard. In fact, I don't even want to imagine the storyboard. That's a cosmic horror I would rather never see in my life. Seriously, Studio Gohands has yet to make an anime I can actually enjoy. I will never like a Studio Gohands production! Dark Gathering is the darkest series this season and provides a really interesting narrative with a tone I haven't seen in quite some time. It gives me happy Sugar Life vibes, except this anime is actually good. It's an anime that is less of a horror and more of a supernatural action thriller. I don't think of this series as a show with the intention of scaring you, but instead it feels like a series that aims to tell a supernatural narrative, with creepy undertones aiding delivery in certain ideas. The story focuses on Ketaru, a student born with the unfortunate ability of attracting spirits. He, for a long time, lived as a shut-in, as he feared his abilities would put more people in harm's way. Only with time, he finally decides to become more social and start living his life again, with the aid of his childhood companion, Eiko. Part of his rehabilitation causes him to take on a tutoring position for Eiko's younger cousin, Yayoi, a child born with 4 pupils who has an insanely high level of spiritual constitution. Yayoi takes heavy pleasure in mingling with ghosts, as she has grown accustomed to their presence because her eyes allow her to perceive spirits. She, alongside the crew, aim to fulfill her desire of tracking down the ghost that took her mother away, while the others hope to shape their own desires through their encounters with the paranormal. I think this show does a lot of things right in that, while it feels like a Monster of the Week anime, it is always making steps in its main storyline. It also features some absolutely bone-chilling sound design, like goddamn, listen to this shit! And this one! And of course this one! While its tone is a little jumpy, and I can't say I like that aspect of it, I think this series does do a lot of things right, and it will likely fulfill that bloodthirsty and sadistic dog in you this season. You will have to suspend your disbelief a lot, but when you do, you may encounter things you wished weren't true. Or maybe you won't. What do I know? Fuck me, right? The second of this list of 6 is, can you believe it? A romance anime! Y'all, I've undergone a change this year. I've realized that even if my dream of not being a virgin at 25 is dead, it doesn't mean so is romance. My Happy Marriage is not just my favorite romance anime this season, but is also animated by the amazing studio Kinema Citrus. They are famous for amazing works like Review Starlight, Rising of the Shield Hero, Black Bullet, freaking Oshi Kajiri Mushi! Y'all love Oshiri Kajimushi! That's like the best anime ever made! Oh, and I guess I did that one about that giant hole or something. But my god, is the presentation in this series absolutely immaculate. While it isn't the best animated work on this list, it is easily the prettiest. It's a love story that follows a similar formula to the traditional Cinderella tale, but still offers some unique changes and even adds new elements to make the tropes less apparent. A young lady named Mio Samori is born without bearing the gift of supernatural abilities. As a result, her stepmother insists she be treated as a servant until she can be wedded off. Enduring her mental and physical abuse for years, the time comes where she is sent off to be married into the Kudo family, through Kyoka Kudo, an army commander said to be cold and awful. Only when she meets him, she realizes he is anything but the man he was rumored to be. From a realm of black and white, now suddenly their worlds are brimming with color. The two confide in one another, and you really feel their chemistry in each episode. Both characters are already showing signs of overcoming their flaws, and are already making small steps to being vulnerable and romantic with one another, despite their unusual circumstances. There are lingering questions, like how these rumors of Kyoka came to fruition in the first place, as well as why supernatural talent in the Samori family is not just famous, but so important that it even encourages potential breeding to grow the abilities out. But to be honest, that's about as deep as the story has gotten. I mean, heck, this isn't meant to be mind-bending in the first place. Writing-wise, this show isn't exactly anything new and risky. Main character you're meant to feel sorry for? Check. Stepmother who's just gunning to be Asshole of the Year award? Check. Tall, handsome man who's not actually scary, just a little bit misunderstood? Check. Like, the story is as vanilla as my BDSM results. But hey, it's cute, it's comfy, and at times genuinely powerful. Visually, this show stands out amongst the rest with its absolutely beautiful color palette and background art. It's just such a joy for the eyes, unlike some other shows. Watching a Studio Gohan's anime is like watching two zebras having sex. It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable and my eyes are failing to make out shapes. That's about it. See ya. Now this is some good shit. Helck is a series that I'm sure most people aren't watching. In fact, I'm super sure that many people aren't even aware of its existence. But it is a sleeper hit this season. This is the only show this season that genuinely made me laugh, which is saying a lot. After all, my comedy's pretty pristine. Helck is a manga that has been around since 2014, and it is absolutely beloved by fans, and I can see totally why. It has fantastic character writing, incredibly funny visual gags, and brilliant character dynamics. But above all else, it has him. And I love him more than you could truly know. Helck is a story that takes place soon after a war between humans and demons broke out. With the Demon King slayed by the hands of a hero, the Demon World citizens prepare a contest for the throne. Months into the contest, the fan favorite is decided, and it is in the form of a human named Helck. But the demons can't get enough of him. His hero smile and incredible strength, and above all else, his desire for the eradication of humanity, make him beloved by the crowds and even the contenders. Yes, that's right, this cheery smile seems to be guided by a sheer desire to destroy the rest of humanity. But one of the four heavenly kings who oversee the demon realm, known as Red Vermirio, is doubtful of Helck's apparent goals and resorts to dirty tactics to try to get the truth out of him. I won't spoil anything else, as the story of Helck at the end of the first episode alludes to a much greater and grander story about to play out. This show, man, is just it's just so much fun. While its animation may not be anything to fawn over, this series feels like this season's Mashal. This anime exudes an energy that's very similar to the Disgaea franchise, and for those who know me pretty well, I love Disgaea. This anime has a very similar comedy style. In fact, I'm sure down the line Helck will also include things like slapstick comedy, explosions, morally questionable characters, talks of horse cock, and people in spandex proclaiming they have no friends. This just seems like that kind of show. I really do think that this anime has the potential to be one of the greatest shows this year. Its problem is just in its presentation. Not that it's bad, it's just not as loud as the actual writing of the show. and its writing and characters are what make the show so special. But trying to convince people through a very heavy visual trailer isn't quite enough. Actually, speaking of trailers, its marketing is atrocious here in the West. I mean, look at this poster. This shit's lackluster. Nobody's gonna click on this. Hold up. Let me fix it real quick. Hell yeah. Now it's a good anime. Undead Girl Murder Farce is a series as absurd as its title, but that absurdity is what makes this series so damn good, man. And easily one of my favorite shows this season. It does something that a lot of contemporary mystery series have been failing to do recently. The point of a mystery show is to allow the audience themselves a chance to break down the case before them and try to solve it with the evidence they can see on screen. And this series does exactly that. This anime's first mystery has been taking its time to flesh out alibis and showcase just the right amount of evidence to form an opinion on the mystery at hand. And my god, I love that. I love that so much. As of the time of recording this, episode 4 hasn't come out yet, which I'm guessing will be when they tell you who the murderer is for the first case, so I'll let you know if I got it right. I really think this is a series you should go into blind, but I'll give you a very, very basic synopsis so that you can actually engage with the fun of the mysteries that are soon to unfold. The story takes place in the midst of the Meiji era of Japan. Humans seem to be the dominating species, with the yokai being the hunted. Within this time period resides our hero. Well, demi-hero? He's a morally questionable guy. Tsuguru Shinchi, a half-human, half-Oni crossbreed working in the underground circus, beating other supernatural beings to death with his deadly fighting skills as a means to entertain the bloodthirsty humans who bet on him in the arena. He's merely waiting out the little time he has left for his Oni side to completely take over, and he can go absolutely apeshit and show all these viewers just what the view is like from inside the ring. With no real ambition and goal left in his very little life, he is merely waiting for that time to come to pass. However, his dreams change when a maid and her talking head in a cage mistress show up and propose to him a very special deal. Aya Rindu is an immortal being, and living as a head inside of a cage for thousands of years has caused her an extreme immense amount of boredom. She longs to be free, so she offers him a deal. She will extend his life if he promises to kill her someday, as the power of a half-Oni can undo what has been done to her. But it appears fate is what brought these two together, as the person that took her body away happens to be the same man who turned Tsuguru into a half-Oni in the first place. With this sheer determination to find answers in their own lives, they join forces to seek their truths, in the form of a wandering detective agency throughout Europe, where they will solve supernatural cases together in hopes of climbing the supernatural community tower, and hopefully find the man responsible for their misfortune. This anime fucking rules. Though I shouldn't have to tell you that. I mean, look at it! The dude is drinking the headless woman's saliva to extend his life. God, it's so fucking weird. Directed by the brilliant Shinichi Yamada, it has some really cool editing that keeps even scenes that are very heavy in dialogue and exposition visually captivating. The voice cast has a real understanding of what makes their characters so fun, and the animation at times is super slick with some really fluid fight sequences throughout. Give it 2 episodes. If you're not captivated by then, this isn't the show for you. Which would be strange, because he drinks a bodiless woman's saliva. It doesn't get more anime than that this season. Well, that is what I would have said, had a certain underdog studio not taken those words so seriously. You've just jumped onto a new job. It's a little frightening to start, but you try to brush off those insecurities and fit in because you truly feel you're about to make some huge steps in your life. You meet the staff, all of which appear friendly. You even have a small crush blossoming as you work closer with them. But as time goes on, something deep inside you begins to brew. Something inside of you didn't want to admit. You feel disdain for your work. You're waking up at the same time every day. You're looking at the same computer, typing on the same keyboard, surrounded by the same people. Your dreams are slowly escaping you. Your hygiene is in decline. Holidays and birthdays fly past. You're working more shifts for even longer hours. You're rejecting plans to go out with old friends because you just want to go home and sleep. And then you realize you've only been here for 3 years. You know you dislike your job, but do you really have time to be looking for something different? How will you pay rent this week if you suddenly quit? Can you move back in with your parents? Do you want to move back in with them? Do you even have a choice? These thoughts plague you until you finally fall asleep, but your alarm goes off only 3 hours later. and you begin the cycle anew. You wish something would happen so you could at least stay home for a day. You wish that perhaps a meteor would strike the planet or a giant earthquake would erupt that destroys the equipment at your workplace. You wish a zombie outbreak would happen, but all that is just fantasy. But what if it wasn't? Zom 100 is an anime that has absolutely taken over this season. This is the big hit this summer, and rightfully so. It is without question my favourite new series of the summer season that I cannot recommend enough. Studio Bug Films is an animation studio from my understanding that has only ever been an assisting branch. It has worked on various amazing projects in assistance with other companies, but never produced its own work. Zom 100 appears to be their first, and Jesus Christ, what a debut! This series exudes a level of freedom through its presentation I quite literally have never seen before. Except in that Crash Bandicoot 4 bonus level where like you spin and there's paint everywhere, this fucking reference sucks. It is a series that is unapologetic in tone and happily spits in the face of all contemporary zombie films and series. It's as if Shaun of the Dead and the very absurdism that is anime had a child, and myself and many others are all here for it. Watching someone who's been suffocated by his work find meaning in his life again is just so refreshing to see. I mean, sure, the zombies are an issue, I guess, but look at him! He's so happy! Now listen, everybody and their dad say that this show is relatable the same way that that one guy said he's literally botchy. So when I say I feel represented, people would naturally shrug it off. But like, let me tell you, I work an office job. I've been working this office job for 4 years straight. This office job also happens to be in media/marketing. My schedule is forever changing, so there is no routine in my life. I'm in my mid-20s. This anime is me! The 20s is a time that's often described as party central, visiting new places, trying new things, making memories with friends by the beach with a beer and a campfire. You know what I've done in my 20s so far? Well, let me tell you. I found this cool rock outside, so yeah, that's pretty cool, I guess. So yeah, I relate to this series really hardly, but that's not the only reason why I love this show so much. It is a genuinely well-written drama with an insanely talented team of animators working on it. Its jokes land. Its animation will go the extra mile when it's absolutely needed. It is just simply brilliant. The 3 directors they've had on the first 3 episodes of this series, by the way, is really interesting. You see these gorgeous shots and think, damn, what kind of track record must these guys have? Well, it's Beyblade. It's quite literally Beyblade, which is awesome, by the way. Zom 100 is a show that people will laugh with, potentially cry with, but above all else, it's a series I think people will be inspired by. The messages this show has been putting out, I think a lot of people will take on board. And I think when an anime is able to affect you in the real world, that is this medium at its absolute best. Because in only 3 episodes, I'm already thinking about the kinds of things I want to do before I eventually kick the bucket. Y'all, a Japanese cartoon about drinking in the nude with a best mate and finding enjoyment in the zombie apocalypse caused me genuine existentialism. Man, I fucking love anime.
Catch me if you can.
The last series on this list is quite literally the fluffiest show this season. The Masterful Cat is Depressed Again was a series I knew I would enjoy, but never thought I would love. The idea of a giant cat taking care of their hardworking owner during their drunken antics just screams out to me. And Nakihito apparently too. I love seeing a pet owner fawn over their pets, and I also love anime that focuses on adulthood, so naturally you mix these 2 things together and you have a genuinely wonderful and adorable series. Seriously, this show has genuinely made me smile more than I wish to admit. There's a nice set of characters with a really unique tone that absolutely works for it. Like, the gag of this incredibly oversized cat wandering into a supermarket to buy everyday ingredients is viewed by members of the public as either, God, I must be sleep deprived, or, oh look, it's that furry again. Man, his stitching is incredible. Like, come on! That's brilliant! It's so simple, but so fun. The main lead lady is also a joy to watch as she constantly is freaking out about hiding her cat from the public, whilst also feeling constant guilt that her cat does absolutely everything for her. With the masterful Yui Ishikawa's vocal performance just being the little icing on the cake. It has some genuinely endearing and sweet moments that I really think are worthy of praise. The writer Hitsuji Yamada has a real understanding of what makes for a compelling cast of characters, whilst also brilliantly articulating the behaviours of cats. Look at the Little ear wiggles, huh? Oh, big stretch. God, I love him. While at times the camera does forget about the laws of framing, its animation and pace are really quite wonderful. God, what talented and wonderful studio worked on this? I would love to know. Seriously, Studio Gohan's has yet to make an anime I can actually enjoy. Never, like a Studio Gohan's production.
Watching a Studio Gohan's anime is like watching two zebras having sex. No.
I can't really articulate how I'm feeling right now. After this realization, I took about a week break from making this video. There are a lot of emotions stirring inside me right now, but I think the most prominent is confusion. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I love a Studio Gohan's production. But that wasn't the only horrifying realization I made when making this video. Not only can I somehow validate this piece of media that belongs to Gohan's Productions is a valid, good even, piece of media, but I'm also a dog person. My dogs won't look at me in the eyes anymore. They were trying to close this distance I couldn't foresee. But as I tuned in every week, I only caused further drift. Their distaste in me has only ever thickened as I tune in weekly to watch this series. The Masterful cat is depressed again today. It's an anime that has ruined my life. But goddamn, is it cute. Hey, that's it from little on me. Thanks so much for watching this video and letting me rant and rave about the little thing we call anime. Before I wrap this up, please give me a minute of your attention to announce something. What's this I have in my pocket? A Patreon! Wow, that's so cool! I decided to open up one of these slackers because I want to kind of broaden my horizons as a content creator. Now, did a literal anime inspire me to do this? There are various tiers to choose from with various rewards. Like, the most basic one is you get your name on the end of like an end screen for videos. That doesn't include the main Abyss manga animations, I should point that out. To tiers where you get exclusive content and extra videos, to the highest tier where I'll animate an image of your choosing in the same style as the manga animations, basically. So if you feel like donating to me financially, by all means you can, but that being said, please don't feel obligated, and above all else, don't put yourself in the red, okay? Your time matters more to me than your money does. That's it for this video. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to try to repair my damaged relationship with my dogs. Guppy, why won't you look at me? Just look at me. It's funny because it's like we're on a date, but we're not, because he's my dog, and we don't do that shit. That's gross.